Welcome back, my beautiful people. Today we're going to learn how to gather fabric, and this is what we're going to use: cotton, then the needle. I prefer to use the biggest needle because it creates some space and hence reducing the breaking of the thread, which is the most irritating thing you can have when gathering your material. And of course, the fabric is there. So here is a needle that has already been threaded. The length of my cotton is about double the length of the fabric. So this depends on what you are gathering. So for me, for the gathers that I want, I've used the waist times 3, of course. The waist that I'll be working with will be 22, and the gathers are going to be on 2 fabrics. So I'm using 11 inch each. So 11 by 3 is 33 inches. I've marked out 1 inch allowance at both sides, and this is now measuring about 32 inches, which we can still work with. That's the goodness of the gathers. You can still work with 32, I can still work with 30, even if it is, because I can manipulate it to become 11 inches, which is the front part of the waist. So I'm going to get my thread, is secure it this side by tying a knot. Then I'm going to start my fabric from where my allowance starts. So my joining allowance is this side, and I'm going to start at this point. Then from the top of the fabric, I went down by 0.5 inch. Then you can go ahead and put your running stitch like this. The goodness of this method is that you can control how wide you want your stitches to be, unlike the machine. My widest stitch is not enough, like it's too small for what I'm trying to achieve. So with the needle you can control that, and your thread is not going to break as easily as it does with the machine. So using of this big needle, like I said, it creates some sort of space for the threads to pass without having that much tension. So go ahead and just do this. Then instead of pulling the needle, you can see this was a little bit difficult. Pull the fabric backwards, as you can see. Instead of pulling the needle, pull the fabric backwards. Then we're going to do that again. Then make sure you even out the thread, the stitches. Make sure they are as close to even as you can try to make them be. So here we go again. Then pull the fabric. It will be very easy for you. See? Then as you can see guys, my stitches look even, which is what you should strive to achieve. They don't really have to be perfectly even, but make them close to even. So after you get done making the running stitch, you leave a gap of thread and make a knot there. Tie the end of the thread so that you secure it. So for the second running stitch, you can start it below by 0.75 inch from the first stitch. Then at this moment, follow the top stitches. Follow their length as you make the bottom running stitch. Follow the length of the stitches that were made on top so that they are of the same size and length. So as you can see, the stitches are parallel to each other. The length is regulated. Even by hand, you can do that and just secure the part that you have cut out. secure them. Then now we can actually start the pulling. So you can pull from both sides. You pull this side, you go to the other side, you pull, and the threads and fabric, there's no tension in there. As you can see, they're sliding well, and this makes it very easy because you do not have to deal with breakage. So even as you do the pulling, make sure you take caution of the waist measurement that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so do even out the parts of the gathers, even them out. Then also do take your measuring tape just to make sure you are on the right track. Then tie both the top and bottom stitch together here just to secure this side of the gather, and even this side. After you are sure of the actual measurement of the of your waist, mine is going to be 11 inches plus 2 inches for the joining allowance, which will be about 13 inches is what I'm trying to achieve. So measure that, and once you get it done, you can also secure the other side of your stitch by tying both the up and bottom, up and down stitch together like this. Then at this moment you can make a stitch in between the two stitches, which will be the permanent stitch with your sewing machine. Then you can remove the running stitches.